Welcome back. It's time now for On the Radar, and we're back with Dan Rohinton, portfolio manager at IA Global Asset Management. Okay, a couple stocks in your radar, Dan. We will start with Netflix. Of course, they're reporting earnings this week, I think. So what are you watching for?
Yeah, so there's a few things. First, how's their advertising rollout going, which is basically them down-tiering and allowing users that don't want to pay for the premium package to step in. The second one is around the idea of what's their actual plan for the Warner Brothers transaction and the process there. And the third one, and this is one of those things that's going to come up not just for this conference call, which is a maybe of a toss-up, but as we look ahead. Short-form content, the ability for AI-generated content. Like we didn't talk too much about the media landscape in our last segment, but for Netflix, they have big budget productions. This is basically the new Fox, the new Hollywood mega studio. Now, if it's a lot easier to talk about and build content at a fraction of the cost, do we see a re-balkanization of the media landscape, just as Netflix basically devoured all of Hollywood? And that's something for Netflix that's a strategic threat that they can't really do much about, because it's just a lot easier for a tiny producer with a small budget to make something happen. Otherwise, he'd have to go begging and pleading for Netflix to say, can you please fund this and give me $10 million?
When you look at that chart, that Netflix chart we just had up, it was like a one-year chart. You saw it go up in the middle of the year. It's down right now. That seems kind of appealing to you. There, you can see it there. Kind of appealing given...
I think it's interesting. I think it's an interesting stock. I don't think it's overly expensive. I think it's actually pretty reasonably valued. But these are, once again, they go back to bigger questions to ask. But directionally, I'm a buyer of Netflix. I just want more comfort that their media and content strategy allows for the long tail of producers, which is where this is inevitably going. Because right now, YouTube is where that's scooped up.
Okay, so the biggest competition, you'd say, is YouTube.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, and short-form video.
Okay,
TikTok.
yeah, true. Okay, next up is Intel. I believe we've talked about Intel before. You like this one?
Yeah, so Intel's interesting because we like TSMC just because of the durability and the stability, but Intel is where the spillover demand goes. So what's been going on, once again, the AI theme comes up very much alive and real here, is Intel is where the empty fabs are because TSMC is fully booked up. TSMC just recently raised their capex. That's why Intel stock has gone from a decent run from the 36 level, is the belief that TSMC is fully sold out, which means the next place that the design companies have to go, your NVIDIAs, your AMDs, your Apples of the world, they're known as the design companies, they have to go to Intel because they have excess capacity in 18A. Intel is a toss-up. Intel does have capital risk, but it's backstopped by the US government, and it's very clear that there's three global foundries that matter. Taiwan Semi, Intel in the US, and SMIC in China. And that's where all of the bleeding edge logic and chips are going to be built. And that's why I think Intel is something to definitely watch to see how much of that spillover compute they're going to get.
Okay, last up, United Airlines. What do you like about United Airlines?
So what's interesting about United Airlines is you really learn about the state of the US consumer. We've learned a lot about, or we've heard a lot about what's known as the K-shaped economy. So if you own assets, you're doing really well because we have asset inflation, which is also known as the stock market going up. But if you don't own assets, interest rates are high, food inflation is high, and it's tough out there.
Yeah.
So that's what that K-shaped economy is. United Airlines, we'll see how strong the upper end consumer is, who tends to be the heavy traveler. They buy more premium seats, the lounges, and all those knickknacks on the plane, the headphone, knickknacks being headphones and food. So these days, because that's how far we've come.
Yeah.
But United Airlines will tell you how the upper end consumer is doing in America, and that'll tell you and help you inform where the direction of interest rates are going.
Is it concerning at all this geopolitical uncertainty we have? Like, I know when the U.S. invaded Venezuela or captured Maduro a couple weeks ago, some U.S. airlines kind of halted flights to the Caribbean for a bit. Does any of that concern you when it comes to United Airlines, or not really?
It'll be a little bit of a hiccup, but this is what non-GAAP adjustments are for, because management teams love that. So they just say, well, we just missed these routes, and if you don't think that another dictator is going to get captured, then take this out of my numbers. Most investors will. So if they have any disruption, it won't be a big deal. If memory serves, United's actually more transcontinental routes as opposed to the north-south corridor to the Caribbean.